Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Brandon here, and today I have something super exciting for myself, at least. Today I have a welder. I finally took the bullet and I bought a welder, and I gotta say, welding sounds like it wouldn't be that bad when you see the prices of some of the machines. Like this one was a $850 machine retail. I got it for like $700, but the thing is, a lot of the cost of welding is actually not the welder itself. It's all the other things that go with it. So like the helmet was another $100, and you got all the protective stuff like the jacket and the gloves and everything else. And then the most expensive part, aside from the welder, is these tanks of gas. So I got 2 tanks of gas. These are 125 cubic foot or CU. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Either way, they're 125 cubic feet of air, of argon, of CO2 mixed with argon. I got one that was straight argon and one that was mixed. So that way I could do MIG and TIG. And yeah, those 2 tanks alone costed more than the welder that I bought that was brand new. And I know I could have got it cheaper. I could have gone and gotten like used cylinders or something like that, or like just a new cylinder even for like $200, or I could have gone smaller or whatever and gone and filled it up locally. But I figured if I'm going to buy a new cylinder, I might as well just have it already filled on the way here. And on top of that, taxes and all that other stuff, it kind of adds up on the cost as well. But overall, welding is not nearly as cheap as I thought. I was like, oh, $700 welder and I'll be able to weld like whatever I want. Nah, it's like $1,400 or $1,500, and you know, way more money than I wanted to spend. And that's even on the cheap end. If I went with like a nice welder, like an ESOB or something, you're looking at like $2.5, $3 grand minimum. So just a heads up, if you plan on going into welding or you want to buy your own welder, keep an eye out for prices, because it's definitely not the cheapest thing ever, but it's also not terrible considering I'm going to get my value out of this without a doubt. So I bought this welder. It's a titanium 200. It's an unlimited, so it's a MIG TIG stick. And the only downside of this is that it doesn't have TIG AC, so I can't do aluminum. I can do titanium, I could do stainless steel, and I can do pretty much anything else on it. I just can't do aluminum with TIG, which is a kind of a huge downside, because if I want to do any intercooler piping or anything like that, I now have to use steel, which sucks because steel is more corrosive, actually a lot more corrosive, and a lot heavier as well. So it's kind of a downside. If I end up going down the route of needing TIG, I'll probably just buy a dedicated TIG welder, since I have everything for it anyway. But aside from that, I ended up getting a ESOB welding helmet, or welding hood, whatever you want to call it. This is the Savage 840. It's their budget one. Napa had a deal on it. These are normally $140. Napa had a deal on it where I got it for like $86, and it was like basically the same price as a Yes Welder helmet on Amazon. So I mean, it's got all the nice little features. It's got the 4 sensors. It's got true color. It's got pretty much everything that you'd want out of it. And I got it for the same price as like a cheapo helmet. And you know, when it comes to your eyes, it's something you don't really want to cheap out on. So getting a name brand like a Saab on that is definitely well worth it. Yeah, aside from that, I'm going to go ahead and unbox this thing and set it all up. And I'm going to go ahead and weld some mild steel, because I went to Home Depot. That's the only place that was open today. I'll probably stop by and pick up some metal from my actual metal like recycling place tomorrow and get some stainless and get some better steel, because I went to Home Depot and this was $20 for this little piece here. I don't want to say little, but like I feel like that should have been a little more metal for $20. But on top of that, it's already like rusting and everything. It's probably been sitting there for a really long time, so I guess it helps with having to clean it up and, you know, making sure I can actually clean before I weld. But yeah, I'm gonna stop by tomorrow and I'm gonna pick up an actual like piece of metal of like stainless and some more mild. This is 1/8 inch, so this should be good enough that we can weld on and know if we have good penetration, all that stuff. But yeah, the selection at Home Depot just wasn't that great, so I'll stop by tomorrow, pick up some more metal. And I haven't told you guys this yet, but I actually don't know how to weld, so that's kind of why I bought this. Is I don't know how to weld, plus a lot of projects that I have to do, like the RX-8, the RX-7, and the FRS all need welding done to them. And I felt like it would be a lot cheaper to just buy and learn rather than have somebody else do it. So anyway, I'm gonna unbox this, clean this up, and then start welding and see how I do for my first time welding. right, so I got everything all unboxed here. It's all set up. I don't have a cart for this yet. I didn't buy one because I planned on building one. But Home Depot didn't really have anything for me to build a cart out of, and all of the metal places are closed today because actually the next day I had to go pick up welding wire. Yeah, I got this 11 pound of Vulcan welding wire from Harbor Freight. I just didn't feel like spending $50 on 11 pounds of welding wire and not getting it until Monday just for me to practice welding. So I just bought a Harbor Freight Vulcan spool, and that should last me long enough for me to learn. And then once I start doing things that actually matter and need structure and everything, then I'll switch to the expensive shit if it actually makes a difference. But from what I've been told, all of their welding stuff from Harbor Freight, minus their helmets, is actually pretty good, and you don't really need anything more than that for like at-home projects or even like some structural things. I've seen people actually build full cars with Harbor Freight welding shit. So, I mean, it's probably good enough, but, you know, I do want to eventually upgrade. I do eventually want to go to nicer stuff. That way I can have confidence in what's going on, but I just don't think practice welding really needs that expensive of shit right now. So anyway, when I picked up the welding wire, I set the gas to about 17 on the argon CO2 for the set it to about 17 CFM for the MIG side of it. That way I can get that's just what I've been told to run it at. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up the spool inside the MIG or inside the machine, and once I have that all set up, I'm gonna go ahead and try to lay down my first set of beads. Yeah, I'm saying that very lightly because, like I said, I've never actually welded before. I had a metals class in school, and I did really good with oxyacetylene welding, and I never did TIG in the class, and when I did MIG, I always burned straight through it, and that's probably because I missed all the classes. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and set this up and try to see how well I can do on my first passes. All right, so I'm probably going to piss off a bunch of people, but all of this wire just got wasted because when I was putting the spool in, it kind of got loose and wrapped around itself, and then it got kinked, and yeah, all of this just got wasted. I'm sure I could find a use for it, so I'm just going to leave it here. And, you know, maybe I'll find a use for it as, like, filler rod or something with, like, I don't know, oxyacetylene. I don't know what I'll use it for, but it'll be there in case I need it. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut up this, a piece of this. That way I have a couple of coupons that I can go ahead and try to weld. And then I already got all the settings set up here. So according to the machine, it wants me on 7525 argon CO2, and then 0.035 inches, and then come over to 1/8 inch, which is actually the max that the 120 volt will do. And then you got 180 on the wire speed, 18 on the voltage, and 5 to 10 on the inductance. So I got 180 on the wire speed, 18 on the voltage, or amperage, voltage, yeah. And then the 7.5 on the inductance. And yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and try to weld this. Again, this is the most that a 120 volt will do, and I'm only on 120 volt right now, so we'll see how well it does. If I might trip a breaker or something a few times. I didn't know that was actually the max, so I'm actually really happy I went with this instead of something thicker. And yeah, so we'll go and try it out and see how I do. All right, so I got these two all cleaned up, all nicely, and then I got them on some magnets so that I can tack weld it, and then I'll move the magnets out so I can weld down the middle. And we'll see how good I can do on my first pass. And I'm not very confident, but we'll see how I do. Alright, so here's my basically first ever pass MIG welding, and yeah, I won't say it's absolutely horrible. That one on the left was the second half, and the first one, the one on the right here, was the first half. It looks like I actually did better in the first half. I thought I was going too slow, or too fast, sorry. Thought I was going too fast, so it was kind of like bubbling up. But then I tried going slower and it bubbled up even more. So I think I just need to turn down the wire speed a little bit, and maybe that'll help penetrate it better. And then on the back here, it looks like we got decent penetration here when I slowed down a bunch. And then on the left there, we got colorization, so that's good. So I'm gonna try and clean up the back and maybe try again. All right, so I gave it more than a few shots. So here's my plate, and I'll put this down somewhere. I'll just put it right here for now. Yeah, so this is the back half of the plate. It looks like, I think this was the first one I did on the back, and it came out pretty good actually. It wasn't too bad. And then the second one was this one. I kind of just was a little all over the place. And then I don't remember which order I went from there, but I know on this one here, I burned through on the back. So that kind of sucks. But I was just there for a little bit too long. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, this first one and the second one weren't too bad. And even on the other side, my very first one, right there, actually wasn't terrible. It just needed a little more penetration. So I might go back to those settings. But yeah, you guys can see on the back, I'm actually getting some penetration on most of these. They're not amazing, but not too bad. So I wouldn't go as far as to say that these are welds. I would just say that I'm more so sticking metal together right now. But it's definitely a lot better than what I did in school. The one time I welded in school, I just burned straight through, like literally holes on all of my stuff. It was just ridiculous. But yeah, this is a hell of a lot better. I'm gonna keep practicing and just keep going at it. I'll probably go until I run out of metal here, and then maybe start a little project or something. And I'll keep you guys up to date. If I do any like little projects or something, I'll post them. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm not too sad about it. Like I could definitely use a lot of improvement. And if you guys have any tips or anything on how to get better at welding, leave them down below, and I'll check them out. And yeah, that's it for this video, you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. I'm out. See you guys in the next one. All right, so I just want to do a quick little update before I go and edit this video. This was right after I recorded that last part. I went and laid this down. So the lighting's terrible though. So I started here, really bad tack, and then I went all the way across, and it came out pretty decent. Not too bad. And then on the back end, complete penetration all the way except for where that tack was. But then we had complete penetration all the way across. So just wanted to throw that in at the end here, just to show that like I can kind of weld. It's not as bad as it looked earlier on, but you know, a lot more practice coming. And I did change settings quite a bit when I did this one. So I just need to kind of figure out my settings and get a lot more practice in, and you know, we'll be minty. Anyway, catch you guys in the next one. See ya.